In this video, we're going to cover one of the most important things when it comes to buying a business, which is due diligence. People sometimes cut this process out, which costs them a lot of money. So watch this video and I'll share the main things you need to be aware of. In this video, we're going to cover the basics of due diligence. DD, as I call it, can be long, convoluted, so I'm not going to bore you, and I'm going to keep it really simple. The first thing I would say to you is it's important that you do your DD properly. I've seen people, especially when they're doing smaller deals, to cut corners, and they end up buying something which they weren't aware that they were buying, and they get pretty much stuck. So make sure you do your DD, whether you're doing it internally or externally, so that you know exactly what you're going into, because you know the law in the UK is pretty much buyer beware. So you've got to know exactly what you're buying. Now when you go through your DD process, you're going to pick up things which you weren't aware of, including problems, liabilities, issues, concerns, lack of systems, processes, key employees, key customers, that type of stuff. You're not going to be aware of that unless you look into that information. And of course, it's good that, depending on the size of your business, that you have a good accountant who can help you with the financial side, you have a good lawyer who can help you with the legal side, because that's stuff you won't know about. The more deals that you do, the better you'll become, and then you'll be able to have somebody in-house who can at least do some of the initial DD for you. So I'm just going to cover the three basic types of due diligence that you need to be aware of. And again, we can spend 2 hours talking about due diligence. I don't think that's going to serve a purpose for you. This is just to raise your awareness. So the first one is financial due diligence. Here you look at the previous numbers. You can go back 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Usually, obviously, people go back 3 years. But it's also then looking at the future and forecasts and saying what's going to happen in the next anywhere from the next 12 months to the next 3 to 5 years. The bigger the deal, the longer into the future that you go, and your accountant will be able to help you with this, both looking at the financial numbers, the tax, the liabilities, but also making sure everything else ties up. Alongside that, you've then got the legal due diligence, which your solicitor will do. Use a solicitor who either knows the industry or who gets involved in lots of buying and selling of businesses. So they'll go through all the different checks and balances for you, including intellectual property, trademarks, patents, all that type of stuff. If there's property involved, they'll look at leases, option agreements if those apply, license agreements, all of that type of stuff. And they will look through that in detail, including employee policies and all other policies. My solicitor, I think they've got the checklist they sent to me. There's 138 or something points that they look at in detail. So it's very, very detailed indeed. And then the third part of due diligence, which you need to know about today, I think, is just the commercial aspect. So having an understanding of the marketplace, where's this particular sector going. You can get a Pinder's report or other reports like that, which gives you a good outlook on both the industry, looking at you, then obviously make sure you look at other competitors and see what's going on there, because you need to be ahead of the game in terms of that. Do a SWOT analysis, or strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats analysis, which will give you a good idea of what's happening in that particular business. But the commercial due diligence is very important, and you should spend good time investigating, looking at, researching exactly what's happening in the marketplace. Obviously, if you're in the business already and you've been doing this for quite a while, you'll have a good consideration and handle on the commercial aspect. But even then, you can still look at the commerciality of this particular business. And again, if this is something you're not familiar with, you can outsource it to an expert who can do it for you. So just to reiterate, make sure you do your due diligence both on the financial side and the legal side, and then the commercial side, and there'll be lots of questions coming up. If the buyer can't answer the questions, that's going to mean there's quite a few holes that need to be plugged. If they can't be plugged, that means the business isn't worth what they're asking for, or what you agreed to pay, which basically at the end means you can then negotiate an even lower price, because what you thought you were buying and what they told you were buying are two very different things. After you've done your checks and balances, therefore the business is worth less, and you can then put another offer forward, which is going to be lower than what you agreed previously, because things aren't tying up, and quite often what you'll find is they'll accept the lower offer. So that's a bit on due diligence. The big takeaway for you really is make sure you never ever buy a business without doing due diligence, because you're going to get a quote out and then it's going to cost you a lot of money to fix it, or you're going to lose all the money that you paid on buying the business. So don't skimp on fees when it comes to due diligence. If you like the video, click like. Please subscribe to the channel so we can keep you updated with new content. Any questions you've got on due diligence, because it is a big topic, post those questions in this video and I'll answer every single one for you.